What we see generally in implementation is it takes just a few minutes to train people to get images uploaded, and some of them are really just starting off on day one with a couple of drones and maybe a pilot or two. So we meet customers kind of where they're at. We complete several cybersecurity checks. Could be a governance board meeting that we participate in. Just depends on each client has a slightly different variation of that.
Guys, welcome back to Boss and Beyond. I'm excited to be joined today by Richard Mejia, one of our project managers here at Boss Solutions. He's been working for 16 years in the industry and 10 years specifically as a project manager. Thanks for joining us, Rich.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Rich, one of the questions our customers always want to know is how long does it takes to get the program going? So let's talk a little bit about the resources and the time it takes to get up and running. Is this a heavy lifting for the customers to get started?
Yeah, in general, it's not really a heavy lift for the customer to get started with Buzz Power AI. We've identified several workflows and processes over the years that have sped up our implementations. So, for example, we work closely with IT teams. We notice that that is usually a time savings of about 3 months, engaging them early, getting them in the door, and understanding how they want us to interact with their systems, if at all, or do we want to be standalone? Those are kind of items that we talk through with the technical teams. But getting them on board early is really great. What we see generally in implementation is once the sign-offs are done, once procurement items are completed, it takes just a few minutes to train people to get images uploaded and to process that. So on that front, it goes really fast. We also do work with clients as a partner to consult them on several aspects of their inspection programs. A lot of clients come to us and they're in various parts of their journey with drone programs. So some of them are very mature and have lots of flying experience, and some of them are really just starting off on day one with a couple of drones and maybe a pilot or two. So we meet customers kind of where they're at. We work on everything from workflow improvements to image capture methodologies all the way to business justification. So it just kind of depends on what the customer needs to get them up and running. Also, to get them up and running right out of the box, we do offer several integrations. The main two that we speak to is Esri and Skydio. So if you're working with those programs already, we are definitely connected with them and we are partners with both of those entities already, and always happy to work on more as the customer needs.
So when we are talking about integrations, do you think that will impact the process as far as for timelines?
Yeah, so we are happy to work on custom integrations with other systems. We've gotten requests to work with like Maximo and SAP, and we have successfully deployed those. It just kind of depends on the IT process to get those approvals
I
and get
see.
the schema mapped and going. So, but in the immediate term, people can definitely upload images, process, and get standard reports out in just a few minutes once they get into the system.
Great. Okay, it sounds perfect. And the first steps in implementation are to gather businesses' requirements and to hold a project kickoff meeting. How long does that usually takes for the customer with us?
Yeah, so those are two very key items that we perform with the customer. So on the business requirement side, that should take about 2 days total. That can be done online, could be done over emails, could be some phone calls. And what we're trying to do there is really understand the problem that we're trying to solve for the business, right? What is the pain and how do we deliver that value and alleviating that pain? Could be in several forms of speed, could be accuracy. These are the kind of things we uncover during our business requirements gathering phase. That usually takes, like I said, about 2 days for the client to complete over a couple weeks time, depending on availability, of course. And then secondarily, the project kickoff meeting, that's usually about 1 hour, and that will be led by myself or another project manager at Buzz. And that meeting is really just to introduce the project management team, but also the implementation team that's going to be supporting the customer through the implementation. So that team will include customer success, customer support, and engineering team leads that will participate in that. So those will be the folks coding and making sure that everything is going to go smoothly for the team. This also gives us an opportunity to review scope and just align on timelines and milestones and making sure that we're meeting the customer where they need to be. Oftentimes we get deadlines of, hey, I need something done by October 1st because I need to go file something with my regulatory agency by end of year. And I need a quarter to synthesize the data that Buzz is going to give me. So we obviously want to be cognizant of timelines as we kind of go forward and making sure that we're staying on track with that. So that project kickoff meeting is to reiterate kind of what we heard, make sure that we're crossing any timeline items that we need to cross, and introduce the Buzz team.
Perfect. That's great. It sounds like we are adapting always to the customer. We then move to IT and cybersecurity. How much utility IT resources are required for completing a cybersecurity clearance and setting up users' authentication?
Yeah, so being SOC 2 compliant is really helping us expedite the IT process. When we go to customers for the first time, they're seeing that we are already following the best industry standards and the industry processes. So that is a great check mark for us. As we continue to on the journey of SOC 2, that will become even easier. So from an IT resource for the client, it's actually pretty low. We typically work with one person who becomes kind of like our IT project manager or our IT main stakeholder, and then we work with them to connect with the right architecture teams or cybersecurity teams. We complete several cybersecurity checks. Could be a governance board meeting that we participate in. Just depends on each client has a slightly different variation of that. So, but from an IT standpoint to get started, it's usually one person that we connect with, and then we kind of get routed onto the right folks. As far as authentication goes, we do support single sign-on connections as well as direct passwording and username login into the system. So again, kind of depends on the IT needs of the customer. If they want to go through the single sign-on process or if they want to just go direct into the platform, we have both mechanisms available. Just an anecdote: we do have a customer that we're working through IT clearances with. They had some concerns that we uncovered as we went through the process of implementing with them regarding their sensitive data, specifically around substations. So there was an ask about how do we treat, substation data. Is it considered SIP? Is it considered CII data? So we're working through that with the customers in that. So right now we did get a resolution to that finally, and we're going to move forward. That doesn't mean that the work didn't stop on the business side. We continue to move forward with the business teams to work on the requirements and work on their workflows and give them machine learning results as we work through the IT needs.
Yeah. And I know that IT and cybersecurity reviews can sometimes be bottlenecks for new software. What have you learned over the years that helps keep this process moving?
Yeah, we found quite a bit of information as we have gone through several IT review boards and several AI governance reviews with different utilities. The main concern that we keep hearing a lot of times is where is the data going? How is it transmitted? How is it processed? So we have worked on mechanisms with different customers to transport data, analyze, and send back that information, and work in a way that we don't have to necessarily store the data. We use a mechanism called sun URLs quite a bit to just kind of borrow the data from the utility, process it, and send it back. And getting IT involved early is one of those things that we uncovered through that process of, hey, well, how do you guys want this set up? Is it okay if we transport? How do you want it to transport? So these are the type of things that we figure out with, IT architects, IT system leads,
Mhm.
and the like.
Great. And then in the process, we start uploading some data into Power AI. And I want to know how long does the upload usually takes for, let's say, 10,000 images?
Yeah, we get that question quite a bit actually. So that's a great question. So for about 10,000 images, it would take about 90 minutes to upload. We are working on updating our systems and scaling them to go even faster. There's a need to go faster than that. We can certainly discuss that. But right now, it's about 90 minutes for 10,000 images. This is also dependent on the customer bandwidth, right? Your bandwidth at your home or your office is going to impact that time, but it's generally about 90 minutes. Now, the AI processing for those images to actually get you results, that's going to be, looking at each image and labeling and giving you results is going to take about 2 hours, given the current stand up time. So conversely, for a human to do this, it would take at least 5 days on and off between things, and it could be even longer if they get distracted with other tasks that they need to accomplish, right? And that also doesn't take into account eye fatigue. We find that humans are about 70% accurate in their findings of reviewing images, and looking at so many images over so much time does degrade that. And our
Mhm.
models are outperforming that just on day one.
Yeah, it sounds like a huge difference there. And how about data quality? Can you please tell us a little bit more of how does this impact implementation process?
Yeah, absolutely. So data quality is important. We are device agnostic. at Buzz Solutions. So if your data comes from helicopters, from drones, from ground imagery, we can take all that in. We work behind the product, behind the device, so we can take it from any angles. So data quality is important in the sense of you want it to be organized, you want it to be shot well, you want it to be bright enough or dark enough if it's a bright day. So we do work with you on that as a consultant. So we want to work with you on your data capture methodology. It's kind of something that pilots and drone teams don't really think about a lot when they are standing up the drone teams because they are focused on how fast can they fly, how much data can I capture on all these towers that I need to go get. But we do work with them to educate them on, what works best for the model, right? How do you get
Mhm.
best imagery in for the computer models and work through that. So along those lines as well, we do offer a optional module we call data quality AI, and this is
Okay.
basically a report card of your pilot's performance. So if you want to measure how your pilots are measuring against your design shot sheets, against your flight times, etc., those are the type of things that we can provide you as an optional module, and that is first in the industry that we are providing now within
Great to
Power
know
AI.
that. Great. And then I want to talk about AI model tuning with human in the loop. I would expect this step takes longer. What is usually the resource impact to the customer for model tuning?
Yeah, this is definitely an important step. Once the results are produced, we always ask clients to review the human in the loop process. And this is the avenue, this is the mechanism that customers and SMEs can give us information back to our machine learning teams, right? This is where you can tell us, hey, things are going good, or hey, I need to pivot, and hey, you're missing something here, or I would like something new developed. We do have quite a few of client examples that they're doing human in the loop and they're saying, wow, I would really love to detect this other thing. I know Buzz, you work on these items over here, but I really want to know about transformer rust, or I really want to know more about wood decay on my system. And so these are the avenues that they can have to come back to improving that. So in the beginning, this could be a couple of days to review, but as people get better at it, it could take only a few hours.
And then finally, we have reporting. I want to know how long does it takes to set up the standard reporting in Power AI?
Yeah, standard reporting is available on day one, hour one with Buzz Solutions. So as soon as you can get logged in and then upload imagery and hit process, and reports will be available to you within a few minutes. So again, really driving home that time to deliver first value, driving that down to hours and days instead of weeks to months is really important for us. So standard is available um, right out of the box. It has been developed with best industry standards in mind, so we are always kind of modifying those reports as needed, as what we're hearing from the industry. And then secondarily to that, we are happy to work on custom reports as an optional module as well. So if you need something different than what you're seeing out of the box, we have definitely delivered several custom reports to customers in the past. So happy to work through that, and then it kind of gets uncovered also in the business requirements gathering.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for joining us today and explaining the whole process.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
And thank you for everyone listening. If you'd like to learn more about Power AI or have questions about getting started, we'd love to connect with you. And we will see you the next time on Boss and Beyond.